All right, the blue sheets are going around. There's only one clipboard. I mean, at least they can just recycle the paper, not archive it. So please make sure you sign one set. Okay. All right, welcome to Curdle, the last and best session of IETF 97. Daniel was jet lagged when my co-chair was jet lagged when he made his travel arrangements, so he's already on the plane home. Yeah, okay, gotta eat the mic, right? So Daniel, my co-chair, was jet lagged when he made his travel arrangements, so he's already on his way home. Yeah. Yeah, he left behind a bunch of document shepherds that we're going to pass along to everyone else. So here is the note well. If you haven't seen it and understood it by now, welcome to Seoul, because you clearly just got here. Agenda. Administrivia. We did the note well, looking for someone to take minutes, just action items, record volunteers, suckers to review drafts. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? I have an opened but untouched full can of Coke I will offer to anybody. Ben, thank you very much. Your group isn't meeting, so there you go. Jabber Scribe. Thank you, Kyle. Okay, good. All right. Order. We have a bunch of drafts. It just turned out that way. Yeah. We have a lot of drafts. What we make up for in quantity, we counterbalance in brevity, which is sort of the design goal of this working group, right? It says, take that thing, and here's how you use the hot new crypto with it. CMS drafts, there's a couple on DNSSEC, PKIX, SSH, that's sort of the biggest mess in terms of reorganization right now. I want to talk about signature contexts, any other business, anything else. I hope we can get out of here pretty soon and go eat lunch or sightsee, whatever you want to do. Any? Breathe in. Yes. Okay. Anyone have any agenda bashing? Again, for the couple folks who just came in, there's only one clipboard, so please make sure to sign it on your way in or out. All right. Oh, well, CMS drafts. I'm just going to go report some status, and if the authors who are pretty much all here on all of our drafts, except for the messy area, want to step up to the mic and say something. Otherwise, I'll just proceed with what I know. CMS Cha-Cha Poly 30, that's been sent on for a publication request. Hasn't, just before a month ago, just before the flurry of other activity, hasn't happened yet. Daniel is, I believe, the shepherd on that one. There's two other CMS drafts using, ECDH new curves and EDDSA signatures. This comes direct from Russ. We need a slight rev to align it with the PKIX draft, and then we're ready for last call. How many people have read these besides Jim and Russ? did you raise your hand? Okay, right. All right, good. So I mean, yeah. On the other hand, I'm smaller. Yeah. Small groups of expertise is okay here because this is sort of a broad-ranging group. So if only those who live and breathe CMS have read it, and we don't have, that's good enough for me in terms of saying consensus and we're ready to go on. And then we have Ryan, who also has read it. No, I don't mean to say he doesn't live and breathe CMS, but yeah, okay. And of course, yeah, I've read it. So is anyone else planning on reviewing this or cares deeply about CMS and how it could use modern crypto? Okay, well, all of these, yeah, great, thank you. I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Oh, that's fine.
Dan? No.
Dan's my last name.
Yeah, sorry. Mr. Dan.
Sean Turner should be on that list.
Yeah, Sean, okay.
Yeah, Sean should be.
So you got that, Ben? Sean to read the CMS drafts. Pardon me? Yeah. He volunteered. Sean has been volunteered. Once we, once Russ puts out the next version, then I'll ask for a call. We'll ask for a call for working group last call. And then we'll pass it along. If anyone, this will be a common trend. If anyone is interested in helping to shepherd documents through, shepherding is part of the IETF workflow. If you haven't written drafts, or you haven't come to many meetings, or you haven't chaired or been an AD, this is an interesting and interesting way. It's an interesting way to get involved in the process. There's a template to follow, and you just, document one or two sentence summary of what the draft is, what the working group thinks about it, if there's been particular disagreements or contentious issues. I'll assert that we haven't had any real contentious issues ever in the history of this group. So, seriously, we've had some disagreements, but none's been contentious, right? We've had open issues. So this is a kind of really easy thing to shepherd through. And so if someone is looking for a way to dip their toe into the IETF process and decide whether or not they like it, when we go to last call, please volunteer to be a shepherd.
Alexi, just a minor addition to this. The role of the shepherd is not just to write the report, is also to help out with the follow-up discussions during IETF last call and ISG reviews. So if things get stuck, then shepherd should get involved.
I only wanted
Don't
to
just
do the
write.
good. I only wanted to do the good news right now. But
Well,
yes, he's
I'm
right.
sorry.
He's right. If something gets stuck, the shepherd is the person, the neutral mediator between the working group and the authors and the ISG, and helps resolve any open issues. And if the shepherd gets stuck, then they go to the working group chairs. So.
The key point that it's worth saying especially is that it's open to new participants.
Yeah. Okay. So Ben said the key point is it's open to new participants. I shepherded my first doc before I had my first RFC. Still haven't had my first RFC. Okay. All right. So CMS drafts, we're set on that. DNSSEC. That's in working group last call. I got updates from Daniel yesterday, and he said, "Oh, that's already in last call." So I went, and that's why you saw like 5 a.m. tracker updates. He's the shepherd for this. Nothing particularly about it. How many people here have read the EDDSA use as DNS keys document? Anybody? I know that Paul and some of the DNS folks have looked at it, so I feel pretty good about it. The PKIX drafts, okay. Notice Daniel's shepherding this too. We'll have Jim up in a minute. This process does not scale. I mean, in theory, it could always be a working group chair, but we want to do some more of that, do more than just that. So we'll have Jim come up and present his sort of 1.5 slides on the status of PKIX. So give me a sec here. Yeah, do it now. Because this is the agenda, and this is the meeting, just so folks know. Hang on. Oh, okay.
Okay, so talking about this is real fast. Solving it may not be. So there's basically one contentious open issue that we need to deal with, and one issue which has been pushed by the chairs to the end of the meeting, which is probably not contentious. And this is, do we keep the current language which says CAs must not use the pre-hash version? Basically, arguments pro is you've got much better security if you make the statement. There used to be an argument which says if you don't make this statement, you've exposed yourself to an attack, but we have at least cleared that attack up when we finish the EDDSA draft in CFRG. And the cons are basically people who generate really long CRLs are going to be in a situation where there are going to be devices, HSMs, which will not be able to consume and hold that much in memory in order to run the hash over it twice. My basic response to that is that's what CRL distribution points are for, keep them short. But some of these guys say, HSMs can only handle, really, really small things. And my response in that case is, I'm sorry. So if there is anyone who really thinks that we need to change this language, I need to know. And now's a good time to stand up and make an argument that I'm wrong.
So just a clarification. So right now, the text says we're not using prehash.
The text says must not.
Got it.
That is current text.
I'm going down. So for the two options, with the prehash version, if somebody uses a good hash function, then the two options are secure to me. And that about security and the choice of which one to use, I don't have a strong opinion over that. Either way, if it works for people, then that's fine. But for security fronts, if the hash function is good, then there are no security issues with either approach.
And you work for the organization that specified SHA-2 and SHA-3, correct?
Yes. No, it's that's true. But the reason, if on the technical ground, we if something wrong with the hash function, then we will speak it out. If something secure is good, then we confirm that it's good. But the group here is going to choose whatever one we all have a consensus on, which one would work for most people, right? And
No.
I would totally support that.
Sure. I actually I was making kind of a joke, but I also wanted to point out that you come from a place that when you talk about hash functions, you bring in some expertise. So was actually my main point.
Yeah, thanks. That's our hope too.
Yeah, and I do want to make clear that the only thing we're talking about with this must not is things which are generated by CRLs. This does not apply to, somebody who's generating a big signature on, like an archive document.
I think it's very good to have only one option and saying must not for prehash. And I don't think actually is anywhere in IETF are going to use in prehash in anywhere, because I think IPsec is not, and I think TLS is probably not. And if it happens so that we are not going to be using prehash anywhere else, then this would be the only place in IETF. I think it would be the bad idea, because then there would be only reason to implement the prehash would be this, and I hate to have a stuff that would be implemented only for very limited use. So I think it's better to just say must not for prehash also here.
From my own experience, I have not yet seen anybody use prehash.
Russ Housley, but I started this, or when this started, I thought, yes, just leave it alone. But as I've been thinking about it, one of the reasons we're having trouble specifying EDDSA is because they broke the API. If we used only prehash, we'd get the other API back.
So programming convenience compared to the security. That's certainly the industry standard. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
The API of generate a hash the hash value, super.
Oh, no,
Yeah, super.
All right. We'll just take a quick consensus hum here and confirm it on the list. So the question will be, are you in favor of must not on prehash? Are you opposed to must not? I'm a negative. Or do you not have enough information to decide? So all those in favor, please hum. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Are you in favor of the text? It's like ballot propositions. Are you in favor of the text as written in the first bullet? Please hum now. Okay. Are you opposed to the text in the first bullet? Do you disagree with it? Okay. Do you not have enough information to come to a conclusion right now? Okay, so that was pretty strong consensus to leave the text as currently written. We'll confirm it on the mailing list. You got that action item for me, Ben? Okay.
Next slide, I think, is basically punt.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up.
Okay.
later.
Assuming that the next issue goes the way it is, I need to do a read through, but I think actually the document is probably finished.
Okay. So we'll expect that.
There has been a working group last call called on it.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
And you updated it, I think, this morning.
Yeah. Okay.
I
That's.
don't remember, does the security considerations explain
Explain.
the con bullet?
No.
We should.
Okay. So that'll.
Okay. For the record, the question was, does the security considerations contain the con bullet?
We'll put that. I mean, yeah, making the trade-offs explicit is a good point. We'll. I don't think we need to redo a last call. Let's just add that sentence, assuming. Yeah.
So Kyle Rose, does that belong in the security considerations section? It's more like an implementation consideration that is a result of the security consideration.
Put it. Okay. So the chair, use your editorial discretion, Jim, and stick it where you want to. Okay.
You should have said bullet.
Okay. Yeah, it's been the end of a long week for all of us. Most of us are kind of jet lagged. Okay. PKIX drafts. Next, the SSH drafts. So one of them we believe is ready for last call. How many people have read how to use RSA SHA-2 with SSH? Kyle? Good. That's almost enough expertise for the chairs to consider. Kyle, yeah, that's his expertise at Akamai, so one of them. Anybody else? All right, so we'd really like at least one other person or one or two other people to have read this. I'll post it on the list, ask for some reviewers, and then we'll go into last call. It's basically ready. There's nothing wrong with it. These three, has anybody been involved with the SSH Curdle drafts at all? Mark is not here at Juniper. He's bent over backwards to try to work with folks. What happened is sort of two different sets of authors have come together. I'm not convinced, and I don't think anyone is actually convinced, that we've split things out into the necessary set of documents yet. Has anybody here read any of these? Okay. We'd really like to. None of them are very long. I don't think we have any document in our queue that's more than 12 pages. And if you consider 3 of those are boilerplate, you know, it's pretty simple.
Sorry, Kyle Rose. The third one, does that incorporate the discussion about the problems with finite field Diffie-Hellman, and then it basically, does it enumerate a way to choose groups? I mean, since I haven't read it yet, I don't even know what the scope of that document is.
I don't remember because it was recent. It was past my cutoff deadline for reading drafts for this thing. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think what we'll do is we'll try to start a discussion over the following week or two about, in general, the SSH documents. These 3. There's a lot of overlap. We want to make sure there isn't. We had problems pointing to old drafts and so on. So please, if you at all care or use about SSH, and I think almost everybody does, read it, get your colleague to. Okay, so that concludes the drafts. There's probably a couple more coming. One of the things that Daniel and I talked about was doing something similar for IPsec, where we just go through the RFCs and maybe make an IANA registry. He'll bring that up later on the list. And of course, IPsec's got main ownership of that. Contexts. I'm not going to move to the mic, but acting not as chair. So we all thought security context, signature contexts were a good idea maybe 3 months ago, 6 months ago, because TLS thought so. Because at the time, TLS had issues. The way TLS 1.3 was going to work is you could do key reuse in some bad ways, and you could end up signing things that could be reused in the wrong spots. TLS 1.3 since fixed that problem. For the cases where we thought we had it, say the EDDSA PKICs, we've come up with better solutions to that, like the no hash mechanism. So while the CFRG signature formats still include a context, say for future extensibility, the general advice from people on this side of the room is probably that we don't need them anymore. And so what I propose that we do is we say, look, we're just don't do them. So that's the proposal. More formally, as co-chair, whenever the signature format has a context for the existing specs that we've got and the way they're being used in PKIC, CMS, SSH, we say it's an empty context, zero link bytes. So any discussion on that? Anyone disagree with my history or view of how TLS sort of confused us all for a bit, and now we're not? We then woke up. Okay. Let's take a hum of the consensus of the room. I think it's good, you agree that we should have zero length contexts. You disagree with that, or you don't know enough to decide. And again, these will all be reconfirmed on the list. So all those in favor of no contexts, all level negatives today. All those in favor of saying it's an empty context in our specs, please hum now. All those opposed to requiring an empty context, hum now. All those not able, all those who need more information before they can decide, please hum now. About 50-50 between yes and unsure. Okay. With that, any other business?
Yes.
Yes.
What information are you working?
What? Pardon me? Yeah, come step up to the front. Yeah.
For the people who hummed saying we need more information, can you give us an idea of what type of information we need to find out?
Or is it you just haven't thought at all about that topic until 5 minutes ago? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Anybody else want to discuss anything about modern crypto and any of the IETF standards?
Sorry, what was the mitigation
For
the context thing you said?
yeah, using no pre-hash.
Sorry?
No pre-hash. So you actually had to have the document there, right? You were hashing it. Yeah. All right, then, as we say on the conference calls, I'll give you the 40 minutes back. Thank you very much. Hope to see many of you, and then some in October in Chicago. All right, safe trip home, everybody. Thank you. If you haven't signed the blue sheets, or if you have the blue sheets, come up to the front.
24 minutes.
24 minutes and 4 going to last call. That's got to be a record. So Ben, just email that to Curdle draft minutes and
I'll take it from there.
So,
Thanks.